Hello everybody and welcome back to F1 22 with me, Dan, and the BMW Slothz team. We're getting underway with Canada today, which should be a pretty straightforward race for us, considering how fast we are in a straight line, and the fact that it is one of the easiest circuits to do on the game, that besides Monza as well, which is pretty much just a straight line. Anyway, onto the R&D. Brake calipers failed. I think that makes us makes this the second R&D failure for the brakes. So clearly an area that the R&D team are not very good at. But it is, of course, the only failure. So we'll move on to the race weekend and jump straight into practice and try to harvest as many resource points as possible. On the horizons, coming up with the cash flow, of course, because you may have seen we had about 13 million left over. We've actually got Carlos Sainz's contract to re-sign in a couple of races' time, so we're saving up money for that. And then once we've got him signed up, we'll use the leftover money to buy the spec-free power unit facility, which will hopefully give us the extra edge that we need to win the championship over McLaren, especially when you consider that Carlos Sainz is still at the moment in the top 10, but not quite at the front just yet. Part of that's going to be his skill and rating, so we'll have to invest in the personnel department, but part of that is still that the car needs a little bit more work. Other areas include downforce and of course the brakes, to make cornering a little bit better for him as well. I think we've got it down to a T now. We're able to adapt to whatever the car wants to throw at us. But there we go, that pretty much finalises all of practice. But one last thing before we do, we'll go in and grab an aero upgrade here. We'll grab the penultimate one for the front wing. So it's off to the Canadian Grand Prix, onto the island in the middle of Montreal here, and this is a race that we have done many times in the past, and we've pretty much either won it or done extremely well on every single occasion. I cast my mind back on F1 22. Actually, I don't really remember how well we did, but I'm pretty sure it was good. Anyway, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell as well, because there is a possibility that we'll be coming back here for Season 4 for one last hurrah before we head over to F1 23. All depends on the release date for that game. But onto the starting grid order now, and on the front row we do of course pick up pole position, but you could see right behind us was championship rival Fernando Alonso. Talking of other championship rivals, there's Sergio Perez and Lando Norris, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc, followed by Carlos Sainz and Lewis Hamilton, George Russell and Esteban Ocon. Behind them we have Pierre Gasly and Dan Ticktum, Lance Stroll, Alex Albon, Oscar Piastri and Yuki Tsunoda, Robert Schwartzman and our former teammate Teo Pourchaire, Zhou Guanyu, Kevin Magnussen, and at the back we have Mick Schumacher and Nicholas Latifi. Headed down to the starting grid now to take a look at some more cars. I wonder if we'll get Pierre Gasly to show up again. He seems to appear quite often when we come down here. But it looks as though we've got the Aston Martin safety car, if we will ever get one, to come out. There's the Haas, the MoneyGram Haas. We've seen that a few times. But as I mentioned, still no safety cars on F1. It's, well, at least in the past 2 seasons. So maybe some changes have been going on behind the scenes there. But who knows? It's time to get on with the race anyway. Well, here we go then, and hopefully this will not be a long one, given the fact that we've performed so well here before. And we have one of the best cars on the grid, and we're away down into turn 1. We got Fernando Alonso challenging us round the outside, now down the inside into turn 2. Maybe some slight contact there as we go wheel to wheel with him down towards the first of the chicanes on this circuit. Deployed ERS there, Alonso up the inside, but we managed to hold him off, maybe just about going over the grass there, to try and keep him at bay. So it looks like the McLaren is going to be a bit of a thorn in our side for this particular race. Although, having said that, it is a bit of a thorn in our side at many of the races. This is the onboard for Fernando Alonso start. And yes, he is still wearing his Alpine helmet. He gets a good run around the outside of us, but he doesn't finish the move off. We come swiping back past. It looks as though we actually just missed his wheel there. Coming down towards the first chicane, we force him to the inside. He has to cut across the curb, and we're able to just use the extra momentum and throw it around the outside as we rejoin at the end of lap 1. And it looks as though Fernando Alonso is now under some threat from Lando Norris, who's managed to get the car just about alongside him. And now Alonso's coming back at him down towards the same corner. Alonso uses the same line as last time, hits his teammate's front wing, and manages to keep the position. Probably figured to himself that's what he should have done the first time. Anyway, we rejoin on lap 3. We've got DRS available to everyone except us now, and potentially some people further back. Alonso to the inside as we come into the Wall of Champions. We're going to hook it round, just about hang on there. It allows the rest of the top runners to filter up behind. We got Fernando Alonso, Lando Norris, Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc all crossing the line really close behind us. We've got Alonso up the inside into turn 1. We're under attack from Sergio Perez. I'm not sure what happened to Lando Norris. He must have lost position somewhere as we go side by side with Perez into turn 3 and 4. And we managed to stay ahead of the Red Bull Porsche with Lando Norris dropping all the way back down to 4th. Charles Leclerc watches on. And we've got a retirement at the back of the field. We'll see who that is in a minute, but it looks to be an Aston Martin. As we rejoin on board lap 5 now into the final corner. Good exit there, but maybe a little bit of wheel spin on the curb. DRS open and fastest lap down the inside of Alonso, and we shut the door on him immediately. We've got a pit stop coming up in the next minute as we come round for our medium tyre stint, and here we go. Actually, we're nowhere near the pit stop. Yeah, big slide there as we come through the chicane. Fernando Alonso is sniffing an opportunity, and he's going to look to the inside of the hairpin. We squeeze him to the inside and have a lock-up and put Alonso onto the grass, not intentionally. But we managed to hold position just about, but it's not really going to help us too much here because he's going to get DRS, and he's so close this time. He's going to go to the inside. We're going to force him to the wall again, but he's already passed by the time we get to the final corner, but it doesn't matter because we're coming into the pits. Following us in, we seem to have Lando Norris, Charles Leclerc, and one other. I think it might have been George Russell in the pits as well. New set of boots on, and away we go. We should filter out somewhere in the midfield. Robert Schwartzman and Nicholas Latifi coming through. And that's crucial that Lando Norris and indeed Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen are trapped behind 3 slow-moving cars. And looking at the minimap, appear to still be trapped behind them. As we come through now, we can see on the minimap that our teammate Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc and Alonso are all in the pits, and they should be coming out on our left-hand side. We managed to get ahead. It's Perez on exit, actually. Looking down the field there, I'm not sure where Alonso has come out to, but it doesn't look like he's too close now. And yeah, look at that. He's all the way down in P7, so he's actually been undercut by his teammate and most of the cars that came into the pit lane with us. So not good for Fernando Alonso and his championship challenge. And now we've got this to deal with, which is the incredibly fast Red Bull in the hands of Sergio Perez, a man who has featured quite heavily recently on the channel and is going to feature again here as he gets the move done on us nice and easy with no controversial things happening, at least on this occasion. That makes a change for Sergio Perez on this channel, but we come down into turn 1 and oh, he's locked up. He's done it again. Sergio Perez has locked up whilst trying to overtake us, and we've managed to take the position back. I take everything back that I said before. Sergio Perez, I think you may actually just have a new clip Anyway, down the outside now, Perez gets the position back, and he does manage to keep it on the road this time, and pull away from us quite nicely on the back straight there. He's going to get the DRS, only because he very tactically was behind us at the DRS line. Also, considering that so far, by the time this video goes out, I think there's only been 2 races of the season. What do you think, Sergio Perez or Max Verstappen to win the championship? It could go either way. I actually do hope that Perez wins a few more races this year. I'll be following that quite closely. And I wonder if anyone else will be able to challenge them by the end of the season. Maybe even Fernando Alonso. Be looking forward to playing F1 23 if he's in the game at Aston Martin. That's going to be great fun. Anyway, we get a great boost out of the final corner. We take the fastest lap, get an overtake into turn 1, and I lie, we do not. Sergio Perez defends quite nicely there to the inside in his Porsche. Funnily enough, 4 German manufacturers on the grid in this season. We've got Porsche, BMW, of course Mercedes were already there, and way at the back with our former teammate is Audi in the place of the Alfa Romeo Sauber team. But we'll stay on board as we come through the chicane, and we're going to be in a good position here as long as we get the exit on the hairpin down quite nicely. Into the braking zone we go, round the corner, step on the power and deploy the ERS to try and keep up with the Red Bull. It is fast. I was surprised doing this race how fast the Red Bull was, considering that we've mostly been challenging with the McLarens recently. And down, oh, look at that, excellent. If we just kept it in a straight line there, that would have been an absolutely great run at Perez down into turn 1. Unfortunately, though, it's not paid off on this occasion, and Perez stays ahead again. Good job to him. But unfortunately, it may not last as we begin to close up for attempt number 2 at the end of lap 14. 4 laps to go. We keep it nice and straight this time. Into turn 1 we go. Nearly gets pushed onto the grass. We're going to go round the outside. This time we stay alongside him and trick the AI into performing a defensive manoeuvre to not crash into us. We hold the inside line and we're going to do what Alonso tried to do to us earlier, but we give some space, potentially. It's either space or a lot of oversteer, and take the position away from Sergio Perez. And we rejoin on lap 18, so he's not actually been able to challenge us. I believe at this point I was just throwing qualifying laps at the game as much as I could to try and maintain the first position and not have to try and fight back, because as you saw, Sergio Perez defending mightily like a lion, you could say, throughout that entire battle, and is going to earn a very deserved second place here. Surprisingly though, Fernando Alonso dropped all the way down to 7th earlier on. He's managed to come back to 5th. I'm not sure if that was on track action or whether he made some changes with people coming into the pits. But either way, not the best. Alonso challenging for a win at the start of this race now is picking up less than half of the points that he would have done if he had won this race. Will, on the other hand, continue to chug away at the championship. I'm not sure where we will be at the end of this race. I'm hoping it's going to be nearer the top. And we're going to cross the line. P1 for Radiant Slothz at Canada. It was to be expected, I suppose, considering this race is pretty easy for me. But we get driver of the day as well, which is even better. It means nothing though, so who knows. There we go. Another win for BMW Slothz, and we're joined on the podium by a Red Bull and a Ferrari. And of course, because we've got the win, it's time to see a ridiculous podium celebration, and there it is. A man that makes an absolute fool of himself on frequent occasions when coming out onto the podium and celebrating with the champagne once again. Right, race results. And here we are with the final stand-ins. Of course, we picked up the win and the fastest lap, and we were followed by Sergio Perez and Charles Leclerc. Off of the podium, we had Lando Norris, Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, George Russell, and Pierre Gasly. So over in the Drivers' Championship, Lando Norris remains at the top, but we move ahead of Fernando Alonso by just 2 points into second. In fourth place, we have Max Verstappen, then Sergio Perez, Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, Lance Stroll, Carlos Sainz moves up again, and Esteban Ocon rounds out the top 10. Further down the order, we have the first Mercedes of George Russell, then Yuki Tsunoda, Pierre Gasly, Kevin Magnussen, Dan Ticktum, Oscar Piastri, Alex Albon, Teo Pourchaire, Robert Schwartzman, Joe Guan Yu, Mick Schumacher, and Nicholas Latifi. Finally, over to the Constructors' Championship, everything remains the same with McLaren, Red Bull, and BMW at the top of the table, followed by Ferrari, Alpine, Mercedes, AlphaTauri, Haas, Williams, Audi, and Aston Martin. That's all for now. We'll catch you in the next one.